What's up, everybody? Check this out. This is my very first request, so I'm really excited about this episode, and it's for the movie Brightburn. So, if you haven't watched it and you're interested in watching it, you might want to check this out. Let's go. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Blunt for ER Entertainment Review, and this episode, I'm very proud to announce, is my very first requested episode for a review. Of course, it's a movie that's not so new, called Brightburn. So if you haven't watched Brightburn, you might want to check this out. Just a note for those who haven't watched it. There will be some spoilers, but being the good guy that I am, I will let you know ahead of time when when the spoilers are coming, and I will give you the time to fast forward to so you can skip the spoilers and not ruin the movie for yourself. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Brightburn. This movie was released in May 24th this year, 2019. It was directed by David Yarowitzki. You know these names. Yarowitzki. And it grossed about $32.5 million domestically, and that is my wife. Okay. So it grossed about $32.5 million domestically, and it had a cast of. Okay, so the movie grossed about $32.5 million domestically, and at a cost of $6 to $12 million. So it's up to you if you want to call it a bust or not. I say it did fairly well for the price. They got their money back and then some. Uh, no, this is not a brand new movie because it was released in May 29th, 2019 this year. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your money? Yes. Yes, it is. Absolutely. So I have a synopsis for you right here. And the synopsis that they give you is: what if a child from another world crash landed on Earth, but instead becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister? With Brightburn, the visionary filmmaker of Guardians of the Galaxy and Slither presents a startling, subversive take on a radical new genre. Anyway, so there you go. I think I've heard that plot before, haven't you? But we all know it's pretty much Superman, the reverse of Superman. This is not a new idea by no means at all. And to me, that this was born, and this is just my opinion, this was born way back in Superman 3, where Clark Kent had to battle out himself and the bad Superman, which to me was that's a whole different subject, but it brought about a different look on Superman, and this pretty much takes that idea and runs with it. DC did though cover this. They did cover this. It's not a movie. It's actual animation, and it's called Superman versus the Elite, where they kind of take what they hearing from the streets. I'm pretty sure they heard a lot of this crap from the streets where Superman is irrelevant now, and they put it into the movie and made it so that Superman was hearing all the noise about him not being relevant anymore and all this justice, and so he kind of took a turn for the bad. If you haven't seen it, Superman vs. Elite animation, go check it out. But let's go back to Brightburn. Brightburn is a more realistic approach on if Superman came down and wasn't a superhero, basically. And I do have my dislikes about the movie. Very minimal, but I do have them. And spoiler alert, it's a scene. One of the scenes that I disliked about the movie was the fact. Here we go. The fact that when there's a lawnmower scene where he's having trouble starting a lawnmower, and he just flings it about a couple of hundred meters away from him. That's all fine. And then he walks over to the lawn. This is just about the time where he's starting to realize that he has powers. Now, the first beef about that, just before that scene, is that he didn't have any powers until he reached puberty, which is about 12 years old. Which they don't really explain that. I don't know. I guess it's up to us to figure it out. Maybe it's the puberty that starts it, or did the planets align? Did some kind of cosmic event that happened that awoken his ship, which started talking to him and let him know that he's not human? Don't know. But at this particular time, he's 12 years old. He's starting to do the lawn, and lawnmower is not going off. He gets frustrated and tosses it. Now, see, for me, it would have been the better scene if while he's pulling the cord, because, I say started lawnmower, it string would have popped. Because I don't know about you, but if you got enough power to toss a lawnmower a couple of 100 meters away, that string should have popped way before that. And if he would have popped the string first and then threw it out of frustration, would have made a little bit more sense to me. But I felt like they was like, let's go, let's move it, let's push this along. So all right, I let it go. And then when he walked over to the lawnmower was now working miraculously, spinning and spinning. He decides, okay, now you hear the voices in his head, and he's like, okay, and he starts to slowly put his hands into the spinning blade. That's where they lose me. Now, granted, this movie was really good, but that turned me off. I had to watch the movie like 3 times because the first time I was just so turned off about that part that I was like, nah, whatever, goodbye. I fell asleep. Watched it again, and again, the same thing. When I watched that part, I just turned off. I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. But a friend of mine's, Big Percival Saunders, what up, bro? Asked me to do a review on it because, me and him always talk about movies. So, there we go. I watched it again just to make sure I felt the same way. And yeah, still felt the same way. It was a really good movie, but that particular part just, I think, to me, they could have cut off some of those baby scenes and made it a little bit more appropriate as to why he would stick his hand into that lawnmower. Like, maybe something should have happened that's supposed to have hurt him, and it didn't. And that made him curious as to if he's invulnerable or not. Just out of the blue like that. I mean, yeah, the voices were talking in his head, but we later discovered what they were saying. So, were they saying the same thing over and over? Who knows? But we know later on that he said, spoiler alert, that the voices were saying take the world. So, that was pretty much my beef. Well, not all of it. And it could have been a little bit more gross. It was some spot on superhero nastiness. But I thought they was being a little polite. They should have, for Superman to turn bad, there should have been some real bloodbath type stuff going on. And then, yeah, there was some. If you look at the scene where he's going after his uncle, because he has this thing that he doesn't want his parents to know that he's doing these, superhero type stuff, but they're not good things. And every time somebody says they're about to let his parents know, he tries to take care of it in his way that he feels that he can do. So he goes after his uncle, and that particular scene, which while doing the research, I found out that particular scene was paid homage to Action Comics #1 for Superman, which shows Superman lifting the car, except he wasn't lifting the car to do what he did in Brightburn, but that was like the homage paid to Superman. So yeah, that's pretty much Brightburn. If you want to really get deep down into it, it's pretty much what if Clark Kent just got his powers and figure out, instead of being kind to humanity, felt like he was above humanity, and what would he do in that situation, feeling like everybody else is beneath him, and even his own parents. It's kind of deep what happens between him and his parents, and you see how the mother plays just like any other mother who's in pretty much denial. My baby can do nothing wrong.
I will never turn against our son.
He's not my son!
Which kind of annoys you at a point, but you can understand where they're coming from with that. And that's pretty realistic with all mothers. But it's also realistic how they treat it. Like, well, this guy's like, doesn't matter. I am superior, and you are nothing. So, I mean, and I gotta tell you, boy, that car scene with his uncle was nice, pretty gross, like it should be. And he starts coming into his feelings, and he starts wilding out. I mean, it was pretty good movie. It was pretty. It's not a superhero, not a horror. It's kind of a blend of both things, kind of like a superhero horror movie. So there are some aspects that are pretty creepy, like there's parts where he's hovering outside and all you can see is glowing eyes. Is dope. You know, it's dope. It's nice to see a bad version sometimes, just to get perspective how lucky we are to have a good Superman. But anyway, that's my take on Brightburn. I don't know. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. If you like it, if I'm on point, if I'm off, you can let me know in the comments. And again, a big shout out to my cousin Percival Saunders for the request. Might have been a little quick on it, but you know, this movie's been out for a while, so I did a little bit of research, and here we go. There you go, my boy, my dude. This one's for you. Anyway, dudes, peoples, thanks for watching. I hope you appreciate it. Hope you like it. If you do, make sure you like and subscribe, and check out the other stuff that I got going on too. All right, and I'll catch you later. Deuces.